Once again, we have Brother Mike Hamer, the Rainbow Warrior, right here. An hour ago, I did not know I was going to be standing here. I get a phone call from Brother Mike, and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" Well, he didn't say, "You just called." I said, first thing I said, right, was, "Please tell me you're calling me so we can record something." Mm-hmm. So he said, "I'm already here, brother." So I said, "Let me finish up something I'm doing on the computer, and I'm going to be right there. Batteries packed, cameras ready, the cards are clear. This is what I live for, brother. Right. So go ahead and shoot and talk to us today and enlighten us." Much appreciated, brother.
Yeah, this is Mike Hamer coming back at you. Today I want to talk about Christmas. Where did they get the concept of Christmas? Where did they get the name Santa Claus from? Well, if you read your history book, your high school history book, they call Santa Claus Old Saint Nick, Old Saint Nicholas. It was a black bishop. They used to call it Asia Minor. It's called Turkey today. He wore a red robe with a white collar on it, but he was a black man. And he used to give children candy and stuff for being good. So that's where Saint Nick originated. Now the Swedes and Dutch, they got a hold to it and they put the stockings in it and the gifts in it. So by the time the United States got to it, and Europe, they turned it into Santa Claus. So that's where it originated from, straight from a black man. But they play on your giving emotion. That's why they put gifts and all of that things in it. But it's a reward for the children being good. But today, our children are out of order. And they still get gifts, birthday parties. So what you're doing is giving them positive reinforcement for negative behavior. So if you look at the word Santa Claus, you take the N out of the middle and put it on the end and say Satan. So what they do in the department stores and all of them back in the day, they came up with this concept to sell their products. And they use astrology, they use everything, Jesus Christ's birthday and all of this, December the 25th, and it has nothing to do with a man's birthday. It has to do with astrology. It has to do with the sun. The winter solstice, summer solstice, the equinox, spring and fall. It has something to do with that. So when they're talking about the birth of Jesus' birthday, they're talking about the birth of the sun. Because at that time, it's at its lowest point, and the winter solstice will start on December the 21st. And that's when it stops. 3 days later, it starts back to rise up. Going back to the equinox, all the way back to the summer solstice. So that's why they say Jesus rose up in the springtime. He rose up in the sky. They're talking about the sun. And that's where they get Easter from. Easter means fertility. It means when the sun get closer to the top of the earth from the equinox, that's when spring starts, and that's when life come back. That's why they got the bunny rabbits and the Easter eggs that represent fertility, represent life. The trees come back, they grow their leaves back and everything. So that's where they get the concept of this man walking on water and the sun, it walks on water. He gave his only begotten son so we all could live. It's the S-U-N, not the S-O-N. And he even said in Matthew, "I'll be there where all men can see me." So how you gonna worship somebody you never seen? How you gonna know me if you never seen me? So what they doing is playing on your giving emotions. Like I say, you got 27 emotions, but you're born with two main emotions, that's love and fear. And your giving emotion, that's where the barter system come in, help somebody out. That's why you see a lot of homeless people, they playing on your giving emotion. So that's where the concept of Santa Claus and everything come from, Satan Claus. It has nothing to do with love under the tree and giving gifts and stuff. It has nothing to do with love. That's secondary. We done bought it into this concept, but that's all right. But as long as you teach your children the right way, that's the real gift. It's teaching them how to be responsible, teaching them how to be in self-control, teaching them how to be master of themselves. And you're not gonna find that's the gift, the love. That's the gift of guidance. That's the gift of self-awareness. See, we live in a materialistic world right now. It's not real, but we're going back to reality. And the true gift that you could give somebody, like I say, is the knowledge of self. And that way they know how to cope with life when they leave home. Cope with the world. They be in tune with everything. So they say Christmas, Christmas, Christ. Where did the word Christ come from? Jesus Christ. Where did it come from? Christ. All it is talking about your higher frequency. They say 13. Friday the 13th, they turn the 13th frequency something that's evil. They don't want you to know that that 13th frequency is your higher anointed self. Being Christ-like. And that's what it is. So they took the truth in astrology and turned it into this man that could do miracles. Lay hands on you and heal you. No, your brain will heal itself. It's called neurogenesis. Or neurogenesis. And what I mean by that, your brain is full of neurons. It's like the dirt in the earth. You plant seeds in it and it's going to grow. But the soil got to be fertile. So a lot of people, when they hear the truth, they get upset. They vent. So while you're venting, what you're doing is killing off the old neurons and replacing it with the truth. And they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's a lie. Don't care how old you are. Your brain will heal itself. But there's only one way to hear it, with one truth. Now, once you hear that truth, whether you accept it or not, that's on you. So this is the most stressful time of the year, people to notice, because a lot of domestic violence go up. All kind of violence go up at this time of the year because it's stress on them. People trying to satisfy their children, try to satisfy each other with all these gifts. And all of the time, the rich man is getting richer and the poor man is getting poorer, right where he wants you. So we got to understand that we've been brainwashed to submit to their holidays. And there's only one holiday that the oppressor didn't create, and it's Thanksgiving. The very, very first president, John Hanson, he created that, and it was forgiving. And the best way we can show love is to feed people, to feed each other. That's the true love. So to give everybody looking for it's not under a tree. See, they come up with this concept, like I say, the department stores, Sears and Roebuck, and all of these other stores. They come up with this concept just to sell their products. So by the time you get through spending all these gifts on your children and then pay your bills, now you're going to stress out at the beginning of the year because you don't have no money to pay your bills. So like I say, what you're doing is giving them positive reinforcement for negative behavior, because a lot of them don't deserve it, but it's not their fault. The parents, the older people, they left them nothing. Most kids, they'll play with them toys about 2 or 3 days, especially the boys. Once they conquer it, they're going to throw it in the corner. But they still going to be acting up at school, acting up in the streets, misbehaving in the house. So what are you really doing? You're raising a rebellious child. He's going to think everything is materialistic. Because I know everybody was excited when they was growing up, waiting on the get up in the morning and open their presents. It was like a crackhead. They were jonesing. He was getting addicted to it. And should no child be addicted to nothing like that, be excited over some gift, some materialism. The 4th of July, we celebrate that. What we celebrate the 4th of July for? We're not free. Our holiday hasn't came yet. Once we free our minds and liberate, that's our holiday. That's everybody's holiday on this planet. Valentine's Day, that was created by a black woman to show the women appreciation, but they took it from that and turned it into monetary. Oh, you got to buy some flowers, you got to buy candy, You got to do all of this stuff just to get approval and love from your woman or your wife. So we're doing too much celebrating. You go out and spend money, and that's what they want you to do. All holidays are surrounded about money. It's about money. It's not about love. So where did they get the word Jesus Christ from? Jesus Christos, anointed one. And all they got to do is do what they are talking about. It got to do with frequency. That's why he had 12 disciples, and he was the 13th. You go to a jury, to a courtroom, they got 12 jurors, and the judge, he make 13. The zodiac sign, it got to do with the months out of the year, the rotation around the sun, the earth around the sun. Even the processions on the zodiac calendar is built off of that concept. That's why you see the halo over his head, that represents the sun. Even the thorns on his head, it represents the sun rays. So they took the truth in astrology and turned it to mythology. So people are programmed to submit to their false doctrine. Even eggs, you learn in school, health and education, they teach you a balanced breakfast. Eggs, milk, bacon, sausage. And what they're doing is selling their products. These dairy farmers and all them, they came up with this concept and this breakfast menu. And if you look at it, it's really not healthy because it has nothing in it. They enrich everything that they create. They take the nutrients out and enrich it. They whitewash it. They breads, even rice. They take the vitamins, minerals, and everything out of the rice, even the fiber, and they enrich it, they whitewash it. So the white rice is no good, really. You're not getting anything out of it. Now the brown rice is what we should be eating because it's full of what nature made. Everything is in there that you need, especially the fiber that you need for digestion and everything. They take steroids, put it in the chickens, put it in the food, in the plants. And we don't need all of that. And then they make everything organic, and then they jack the price up. And organic is something that's natural. So it's all about money to them. Everything they do, and they got us doing, is about money. Now your true wealth and your true health has come from up here. Your true wealth is your own land where you can grow your own fruit, vegetables, and everything. That's your money right there. So like I said in my last video, their time is up. We're going back to the natural. Because nature produced everything on this planet for everybody. There should be no child left behind, no hungry children, no homeless children, no homeless people. It was designed this way by the elite. It's about money and power over people. So we got to wake up and understand how we've been brainwashed, how we've been manipulated. And like I tell everybody, religion and the government, they in their last days, they falling together. When you're a child, they'll send you to church and teach you their religion. Yes, Jesus loved me because the Bible tells me so. You never saw that song in the Bible. And the Bible can't sing to you. So how you know if that's the truth or a lie? You have to do your own research. Then by the time you get to 11th grade, 12th grade, they teach you their government economics. And between all of that time, they didn't teach you nothing about your African history. They taught you was bad and evil. You was no good. You 3/5 human. So by the time you graduate, you're a slave to their system, and unconsciously. And consciously and unconsciously, that's the way they control you. Through their government, through their monetary institution, political institution, the monetary, the educational institution, military institution, and what about the family institution? Which one is more powerful? It's the family. It's a no-brainer. So all those other institutions, that's what they control the family with. They divide the family and they control you with that. Because if you don't do what they say, they send the police to your house. Then if you get too out of hand, they send the military. So when it comes to human behavior, you look at the gangs in the hood, or gangs in, you know, they necessarily have to be in the hood. White people, they have gangs. Everybody have gangs around the world. But you look at human behavior, it's no difference. They do the same thing. They fight over territory. They just got, the government just got their big armies. That's their gangs. Just like back in the day, when the riots and stuff were going on around the world, around the United States, when they killed King, they sent their militaries in to calm everybody down. So if you're in the hood, you got a gang, you're going to fight over the same territory, you're going to have the same behavior, you're going to do the same things. Rich or poor, you still got the same human characteristics, the human behavior. So these young white boys, they shooting up the schools. They come from their family. Most of them grow up around guns, around that anger and that false doctrine. So they doing what they've been doing since they left the Ice Age. They've been wreaking havoc around the world, mass killings. But look at our children, we killing each other. That's because we've been taught to do it. Through false doctrine, they split the family up. They attacked our family, the black family, the greatest institution and all those other institutions. So that's what they did. They attacked the black family. They split it up. They turned the Trinity around, from the father, the mother, the children. They put the man last. They put the mother and the children in front of the man. And you look at most black households, the woman will put the children before the man. He'll be last in the house. And that's the way they want it. So who is more important, the parents or the children? The children can't tell you what to do and to guide you in the right direction. So the parents. The children are dependent on the mother and the father to give them the right message so they can lead them into the right direction. So in the United States, the black women, the white women, all of them, they foot too far in front of man. Because man is submitted to the woman, to sex. You think he's weak for sex, he's weak for money. And the United States is full of sex, money, and drama. That's why you see a lot of drama in the White House. They're messing with your true nature. And that's the only weapon they got, is keep you from the knowledge of your true self, your true nature. That's why my wife and everybody, I tell them, don't go by what I tell you. Pick up books and read for yourself. I can give you the information, but you got to see for yourself. That's the only way you get confirmation. Self-knowledge. And who the best teacher is? Yourself. If you haven't been taught right, you can teach yourself to be righteous. That's why people tell lies, because the will to be righteous is in you. A lot of people go to jail for crimes and stuff, and all you hear is a lot of regret. But they didn't know any better until then. But that's where a lot of people heal at, when they're in the jailhouse, just like Malcolm X did. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people knock their heads, they go to jail 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden, they wake up. Because that's where you get in touch with yourself. You're in there by yourself, your inner self. And then you start listening to that voice, and then if you conform to that righteous voice, that right spirit that's in you, you can hear yourself. Oh, I can't get no job because they say I'm a felon. A felon can't vote. No, you got to wait to vote. I done seen a lot of brothers come out of jail and they start their own business. And they're doing good. And a lot of people, they start doing their own things because they break it away from the white man's system. I don't need you to tell me what I can and can't do. Because what y'all teaching us, we already knew. Y'all got it from us. They got it from us. That's why we was able to create things, this 400 years of oppression. Air conditioning, refrigeration, stoplight. Just look at the black inventors. At the top of the list, you see the Africans. They invented chess, civilization. But then you look at the rest of that list, most of them inventors and inventions came from right over here under oppression. George Washington Carver, look what he invented. The first automobile was invented by the black man. Ford and Chevrolet and all, they just took the blueprint and ran with it. But they didn't invent it, they got it from us. And the whole car system is built off your body. Your exhaust system and everything. Your intestines, your heart. Your heart is your battery. But your stomach really is the battery. That's where you get your energy. That's where you get energized. So that's why it comes from sex. They turn it into something that's money, which is spiritual energy exchange. And that's why when a woman and man come together and they climax together, she passing energy to you. You passing energy to her. And that's different from making love and just having sex. Because you'll feel that energy when you're in love, when you're connected. So we took something that's natural and turned it to monetary, like breastfeeding your children. The hormones and everything that you get from the mother's breast milk. And we're the only creatures on this planet that eat other and drink other animals' milk. And we won't drink ours, but we go to titty bars and pay money to see that. But these women still walk around in Africa, braless. You don't see them salivating over their breasts and all of this. It's sacred. So we got to go back to our natural roots. That's why we have health issues, because we eating the oppressor's food, his processed food, his manufactured food. We got to go back to nature, something that's natural. And see, the zodiac calendar, if you look at the Mayan calendar, they go hand in hand. One is built off of 25,000 years, and the other one is built off of 400 years, the Mayan calendar. And the Mayan calendar is broke up in Bactrians. And the 13 Bactrians, that's where it stopped. And if you read the Mayan calendar, you see where we got into a materialistic world. And the 13 Bactrians, that's why it stopped, because that's got to do with the frequency. The higher frequency, 13. And the planet been building up to that 13 frequency way back in the 70s. It was like at 7.9 or something like that. But now it kept rising all the way to the 13th frequency. So 2012, they say when the earth gonna end, everybody think that's the end of the world and all that. That's the end of the old world, beginning of the new world. The end of the age of Pisces, the two fish, that's where they get the concept of Jesus from, the two fish, from the Pisces. And that's around the time when religion started, all around the world. But the Mayan calendar is built off of every 400 years, and then the Bible tell you after 400 years, you're going to wake up. So it's all hand in hand. Willie Lynch, he brought his information over here, that letter over here in 1712. Just add 300 years to that, and it's 2012. They think nothing happened and stuff, but it did. That's why we're going through this frequency, that higher frequency. That's when Earth got to its higher frequency, 13th frequency. That's why you see a lot of people having trouble to cope, because of the higher frequency. The Earth is shaking, it's vibrating. A lot of people don't know a lot of the electricity that you see in the sky, the lightning, it comes from the ground. So that same energy that comes from the ground, it comes through your body too. But it had to go up through your chakra system. And by the time it get to the heart chakra, if your heart is not pure, it's going to stop right there. And it'll kill you. Now, if your heart is pure and your mind is open, it'll go all the way up to your 13th frequency, your higher self. And then that energy, that electromagnetic energy, like I said before, it'll project itself to the astral projection, to the stars. And that's your higher frequency, that's your 13th frequency. You're anointed then. Can no man anoint another man? Only an individual can anoint itself. But you're supposed to be anointed and in tune with nature, the universe, the planet when you leave home. That's why a true village. But right now, the family's got to come back together before it be that true village again. When everybody's child is everybody's child. Because that's what it takes, a whole village in sync, in the same vibration, to keep that one child on that righteous path, to put him on that righteous path, and to keep him there. Because the child come in, he wild and untamed, but he got to be tamed and trained to control his emotions. You got teenagers having sex. You're not supposed to be able to have sex until you are mature enough. A lot of people don't understand that our brains don't stop growing. Your body might start growing at a certain age, but your brain don't stop developing till you're 24, 25. And that's when you get set in your ways. So that's why it takes us so long to evolve from a baby into a man, from a baby into a woman. Because it's got all it got to do with brain development. So in a true village, you might have your astrologist over here, the medicine lady, the medicine man over here. You might have your nutritionist over here. And we won't have to go to nobody at school. The whole village will teach all of that. They give you the knowledge and the wisdom. And that's what it takes to make a strong mind and a healthy heart. If you're weak-minded, you're going to have a weak heart. You're angry all the time, you're going to have a weak heart. And that's where your immune system, it can't work at its fullest. Because when you get angry, the vibration in your body even changes, the chemistry even changes. That's why they say don't let the devil grab hold of your soul and let the sun go down and the devil grab hold of your soul. That's your own personal self, your own personal anger. So when you get angry, that blood rushes to your muscles. It's for fight or flight. And a lot of people, if you understand, if you look at yourself, when you get angry, how do you feel after you get angry? See, the best thing you could do is to sit down and let that energy redistribute itself throughout your body. And calm down. It's all right to get angry. That's one of your emotions. But it's for fight or flight. You're either going to run from something, you're going to stand and fight. So once you become master of your own emotions, you can become master of yourself. So people can say anything about you that you might not like, but you won't get upset. Because as long as you know who you are, that person is trying to put you in that state of mind with negative energy. Anybody can say anything about me, negative. I tell them I appreciate the compliment. Oh, this ain't no compliment. It is to me because I know what you're trying to do. But see, once I'm master of my own emotions, you can't upset me. Only time I get upset, but I won't be upset, but I will straighten you. If you come negative, because like I say, I eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because it's still energy. It's fuel for the fire. A lot of people get upset you can't handle the truth. Why you can't handle the truth? Because you've been programmed by a lie. But like I say, once you're upset and you vent, whoever give you that message, that true message, when you get in that humble state of mind, that's when it'll sink in. Then you say, nah, I see what he's talking about. Nah, you done healed yourself now. Because when you vent, you're killing off those neurons that absorb the lies. Right in your own personal brain. Free your mind, the rest will follow. And that's how you free your mind. You kill off the old neurons of the lies and replace it with the truth. And then once you plant the truth, it's going to absorb it and it's going to replace those lies. Now you can see what the world the way you're supposed to see it. You back in tune with nature, the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, the planet, the frequency of the planet. And sound ain't nothing but frequency. Our language is frequency. That's why the brain is so versatile, it can speak many languages. And one thing about the body, it all speaks the same language. I don't care what language you speak out your mouth, but the body, it got the same message, so it speaks the same. That's why you can't understand people that use sign language with their hands to try to explain to you. It's the same thing. Care what language you speak, the body never lies. That's why they say actions speak louder than words. So anybody can fix their mouth to say anything, but this is the truth. That's why you can't believe what your pastors taught you, what your mother and father taught you in America. We're being more specific about that in America. Because then when they send you to their school, they want to teach you what they want you to know. All they're going to teach you is self-hate about yourself. And to sell their toys and their products. And they educate you when you're in school. That's their education. That's their story, his story. They glorify Christopher Columbus, George Washington, was St. Patrick. He was a mass murderer. He even killed white people, the snake people. They called the white people the snake people over there in Ireland over there because they worship and they was with the snakes on their head just like the Egyptians. The leprechauns, those are Twa people. That's why they call them magic. They were short people from Africa. And St. Patrick, he destroyed all of them, but they took all that information before they destroyed them. So what they're doing is worshiping mass murderers. George Washington wasn't the very first president. Hey, he the one that voted John Hanson in. And he was a Moor, he was an African. He's the one that, they wrote the Constitution, but he was the one that gave it to him. But they corrupted it. Everything they taught to you, it was bad. But all the time they were talking about themselves. Y'all 3/5 human. No, they 3/5 human. They got Neanderthal. And that's a fact. We the only ones that's 100% human. Our hair is 100% human. That's why you see a lot of children. They wearing their hair nappy now. You say, oh, you got some bad hair. So they just look at you like you're crazy because you are crazy. If you still think your hair is bad, your skin is ugly. No, your skin is not a curse, it's a blessing. Your hair is a blessing also. You were blessed when you were born. They say, oh, you were born black, you were born with 2 strikes against you. That's a lie. That's what they told you. And a lot of people still believe it. It's not no curse. Study your skin, study your hair, and you see just how powerful you are. You see why they were taking man's penis, cutting it off, carrying it around. They even take it and grind it up make it into an aphrodisiac. They was after your melanin. That's why they let the black woman breastfeed their children. They was after that melanin, that power that you got. This old movie with Ken Norton. Let me see the name of it. Anyway, it's a slave movie. It's a slave movie where Mandingo, right? Mandingo, yeah, right. Well, they had the little black boy.
My ear perked up when you said Ken Norton. That's boxing, man.
Right, exactly. Mandingo, where they had the little boy laying on the floor. He put his feet on top of him. He said, yeah, they say the black boys that draw the rheumatism out of him. See, they knew we had healing powers. They couldn't heal the way we heal because of the melanin. And that's a powerful movie. If you remember, what's his name? What's the rebellion? Dang, I can't think his name. This is right off the top of my head. The one that was killing the slave masters in that movie.
Oh, I forgot the name of that.
Dang, Cicero.
Okay.
Cicero.
There you go.
Remember when they tied him up when they was getting ready to hang him?
Yeah.
He said, y'all was already oppressed. We was masters of ourselves in our own land.
Oh, yeah, true.
Right.
That's true.
See, that movie got a lot of truth in it. Yeah. And remember when they caught him reading the Bible? And he said, Master, please pray for me because you know I was a dumb soul. I don't know no better. And that's where the word, I'm going to pray for you come from. You had to depend on the white man to pray for you. And a lot of people don't even know what prayer is. That's your personal relationship to your ancestors, your ancestor wisdom that's inside you. That's why a lot of people go to jail, they start to meditate. They go inside themselves, and their spirit, they get in tune with it. They teach themselves to be obedient to that message that's already in them, because they weren't taught from the beginning. So these movies, they tell a whole lot about us. Their movies and our movies. Their movies are based on a lot of evil energy, a lot of bloodshed, but ours is based on more family oriented. That's why that's the greatest institution than all those other institutions. And that's what we got to repair, the black family. Because once we repair the black family, the world gonna fall in order because they're gonna follow us. We don't copy off nobody, we won't imitate nobody. Everybody else on the planet imitate us. How many dances white people created? They always copy off us, but they take it like they created it. Everything we create, they take it like they created it. Because they want to be on top so bad. But no, if you was on top, you would have been the first one created on this planet. And to create life, you can't go through cold, you need heat and moisture. So the people had to be created through the sun and the moon, through nature, from the dust of the stars. It had to be black because that's the only way you could create something, and you had to adapt to that climate. So that's where the dark skin came in, Africa. And once they started traveling outside of Africa, that's when people started to change. They had to adapt to the earth, to the climate. So that's why you see most of the dark people are surrounded around the equator. And the light-skinned people, the lighter-skinned people, they in the north or the south hemisphere. But right in the middle, around the equator, the dark-skinned people, that's where we all originated from, heat and moisture. So through heat and moisture, we had vegetables, we had fruit, we had everything. We didn't have to eat each other. But over there in Europe, they had to eat each other. They show you in the movies, 1 million BC, how they was, you know, how they used to fight each other, to eat the animals. Hell, they didn't know how to make fire. They used to eat their meat raw. That's why in their movies, they show a lot of bloodshed, a lot of cannibalism. Even the pilgrims came over here, they was eating each other. They didn't know how to act. They didn't come on no pilgrimage, they came to take. So that's why it's our time to wake up and realize that all of this doctrine they got it from us. They just turned it into false doctrine. So once we start indoctrinating our children with the true laws and the true methodology, then the jailhouses come down. Everything else is going to come down. The government is already coming down because there's so much negative energy there. They don't have no solutions to no problems. They don't want to solve it. And one thing about negative energy, when they clash with each other, you're not going to get no positive out of it. So, like I said before, we are the chosen people. We had to go through that 400 years to get back to our true conscious state of mind. And it made us stronger. They make us weak. They said what won't kill you will make you stronger. So we going in the age of, we already in the age of Aquarius, but 2020, that's our year. And a lot of conscious brothers and sisters, we don't need all of them. All of them ain't gonna, you know, they too comfortable with the ways of the oppressor. So you leave them alone. But there's a lot of speakers out there, men and women, that know the truth and they're conscious of it. We don't need everybody. We just need the correct amount to put our voices together. Because once we put our voices together, what's the Black National Anthem? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Even the Christmas song, joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let heaven and nature sing. Let heaven. See, that means we're going to go through an alignment. See, we've been singing it all of the time, even in they Christmas voices, songs. The truth is there. Go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 51, verse 16 and 17, and see if you don't see that message in there. Go to Acts chapter 7, verse 6 and 7, and they'll tell you who you are. And you're supposed to go on this journey. See, every story in that book we done went through 400 years of oppression. Every last one of those stories is about us. It's about nobody else. And it'll tell you, these slaves are my people. Wake up, wake up. Truth always comes from the slaves. Even the story of Moses, which Moses never existed. But these people that they gave us, these European names and stuff, they never existed. But the people that they got the information from, the Book of Dead, the Egyptian Book of Dead, they got the information from there in the African folklore and wrote their version. So they said, Mike, you should write a book. And they're like, no, because I had to charge. See, the truth is free. You don't put no price tag on it. I could write a book and people read it, but can you comprehend it? See, your brain don't process information where you see it, it processes where you hear it. Come by here. You won't obey my voice. Those who have ears, let them hear. So you can write it in the book, but I ain't after no money. Can't buy freedom. A lot of people think freedom got a price tag on it, but it don't. No, you take that. You go back to the original. That's how you get free. The original message. That's why our brains through evolution, and we didn't come from no monkeys and apes. That's what they told you. We came from a humanoid, but our brains were small. It was in this primitive state of mind. It was in this lower self. So the more knowledge you got, the more wisdom you got. Your brain started getting bigger. Your head started getting bigger. Then your middle brain came in, where emotions. Then by the time you got to the Homo sapiens sapien, you was at your higher self. And that's when your brain stopped evolving. But it got to its higher self. Because you had all the information. That's why it kept growing and growing. And that's why your head kept getting bigger. So like I said before, people be talking about, oh, you got a big head. Yeah, you got a big brain. The bigger the brain, the smarter you are. The more information. That's why they give you the concept of the Martians with the big head. They say you're real smart. They're talking about you. Oh, I got a big forehead. Oh, yeah, that's what separates us from everybody else, that frontal lobe, that mammalian brain. We can study everything. Animals can't do that. But they know they role in life. They know they role on the planet until you domesticate them. And when you domesticate them, you doing it for your self-servitude. You making them serve you just like they did us. But like I said before, the brain got a strong will to correct itself. So we've been going through a correction. It just took 400 years to get back to it. So the more they kill us in the streets, and when they do, we get an uproar. But when we kill each other, we just flip it under the rug. See, we worry about what they doing to us instead of us what we doing to each other. And that's the only way you're going to fix slaves, because only slaves can heal slaves. The government not going to heal you. Their school system not going to heal you. First thing you say, oh, I made it, when you get famous, when you get money. Oh, I made it. Yeah, you made it to the white man's world, the American dream. But what about King's dream? That's the dream you should be concentrating on. You didn't make it into the master's house. That's all you did. Because he going to control you with the money. Because you think you can go out there and buy big houses, materialistic, oh, I got cars and all that stuff. That's nothing. That's why the athletes, except for Kaepernick, can't say the things that we say. Because they're afraid of losing their money. They're losing their fame. They're losing their American dream. Oh, I'm living large. You ain't living large. Because as soon as you say something against their system, they're going to get rid of it, just like they did Kaepernick, because of the flag. And one day people going to wake up and realize that American flag and the Confederate flag is all Egypt. You look at the X on the Confederate flag and it got 13 stars. They come from Africa. The X is resurrection. The 13 stars of David. You look on the dollar bill, look on the back of it. They got the pyramids, they got the eagle. They turned it from a hawk to an eagle. And everything got 13, even those pyramids got 13 steps on it. It's all about 13, that's the frequency. See, so a lot of people say, I need money, I need money. No, you don't need money. They just got you thinking you need money. It's an illusion. Like they say, money don't grow on trees, it's manufactured right there in Kentucky. Just like everything they give you, every other thing they give you is manufactured. Hell, when I was growing up, this was a couple of Christmas, I didn't get nothing. I wasn't worried about it. But everybody was upset at my father because I didn't get nothing. Hey, I was more worried about eating. I didn't have a lot of toys and stuff, but I had animals around me. Those were my toys. We used to live around a lot of woods and stuff. I used to go up in the woods and study the animals. I was studying nature. The animals, my pets were my toys because they were teaching me something. Them toys are something to play with. We used to make our own toys. So we out here breaking our necks, buying our children all these gifts and all of this stuff, and we spoiling them. And one thing it says, don't spoil your child and don't provoke them to anger. Now it says, spare the rod, spoil the child. That don't mean you have to put a rod on your child. A lot of black people, the first thing they say, I'm gonna whoop you, I'm gonna whoop you, I'm gonna whoop you. Even when they get in a fight, they come, I'm gonna whoop you. They come from the slave master. Animals chastise their children, you know, but some are violent when they chastise them and some are not. But we're not supposed to do the violent way. If we do it the natural way, our children are naturally conform to it. By the time they get 4 or 5 years old, you tell them one time and they do everything you tell them to do. But now we're spoiling them. I give you some candy if you stop crying. If you sit still. No, you bargaining with them. You don't bargain with your children. You trying to buy your children, trying to be their friends? No. That's why they grow up and rebel against you, because you spoil them. They tell you don't spoil them, but they don't tell you why. They don't go into detail. They give you the information, the instructions. It is all about brain development, putting the child on the righteous path. The children, when they're born in this world, they got to evolve into a man. They go through the same stages we evolve from your lower self to your higher self, brain development. When the child is born, he's born butt naked and wild. He's a little angel sitting there, but guess what? Once he starts walking, he's going to go on free will. You got to teach him not to run in front of cars. You got to teach him not to go into the water. He don't know any better until you teach him better. So we're not teaching our kids the right way. If we taught them better, they'll do better. So if you weren't taught the right way, that's what the Bible's basic instructions before leaving earth. And instructions are there, don't go into detail. But life lessons and knowledge will fill those blanks in. You can't be bound to the Bible. It's an instruction book. It's an astrology book. It's a health book. It's all of them put together. It's a book to connect you back to nature, natural law, and the universe. That's why it's there, because if you weren't instructed before you left home in the right way, the instructions are still there. And nobody's obeying the instructions. So we got to re-examine these holidays. Where did they get them from? Why they created? And you see every time they have a holiday, they always selling something. Oh, we got a mattress sale. We got a big car sale. It's all about money. Money and power over people. manipulation, mind manipulation. Like I said, a lot of people gonna hang on to what the oppressor taught them. Every religion, you got Jehovah's Witness, you got Baptists, you got the Mormons, you got all of them, Lutheran. You got all these religions, all of them was created by white people. Only one we worship, only one that wasn't created by white people is Islam, and that was the Arabs. And the only religion that black man created was Buddhism, Buddha. He's a black man from India. But Confucianism, it was built off of nature. That's why the Chinese, they're more in tune with nature and everything. It's about natural law. But people got to realize all of them come from African spirituality. That's our religion. Nature in the universe is our religion. That's spirituality. Because the spirituality is your clairvoyance, your intuition, everything that comes from within. That's your spirituality. So religion is destroying that connection to the universe, to the planet, to your ancestors. Because you believe somebody's coming back to save you. And all of the time, the saviors are here. And that's us. We're going to turn everything around. We're going to save the planet. Like I say, we're in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is alignment. The fifth dimension, they sung it to you. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. The fifth dimension. The fifth dimension got a lot to do with the frequency of your heart, the frequency of being in tune with the universe. They talk about the third dimension, but what about the fifth? And that's what fifth dimension is. It's harmony. It's alignment. It's love. So we got to go back to the natural, and that's what we're doing. Nature got ways of healing herself. Because in the end, nature gonna have her way, and the universe gonna have his. Because man got to realize all our strengths come from the heavens above. Our information and everything come from the heavens above. Above and so below. It's energy. It's frequency. The electromagnetic energy that comes from the earth and comes from the heavens. It flows through your body. So that's a pretty broad subject when they say so is above, so below. It's about balance, being in tune. So everybody not going to agree. It's not meant for everybody to agree. But one thing about it, a lot of people going to die with those lies, and the truth going to reign. Regardless you want to believe it or not, it's going to do what it do. It's going to have its way. And in the end, everybody will be in harmony, everybody be in tune. That's why they got to follow us. Like I said before, we waiting on them to give us something, you take it. You can't vote for freedom. You can't buy freedom. You can't go to church for freedom. That's where they got you locked up in a matrix through the church and the government. They fool you with the religion and control you with their government. Who gave them the right to kill somebody, say we're going to execute you, and then they tell you not to kill, but they still do it? Who gave them that authority? Who gave any of these governments around the world? I'm going to chop your head off if you don't do what I say. See, this has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. It's just time for it to come to an end. So I'm going to end this right now. Like I said, we got to go way back in the day. Because through our music, everything we do, we create. But through our music, first thing they ask our singers, where did you get this information from? They say it's coming from my heart. They right, because that message is already written in your heart. Like I say, it's nothing new under the sun. We speak and sing the truth, but you're not conscious of it. Now we're becoming conscious of it. Back to our true conscious mind, our true spiritual mind. And this is spiritual and genetic warfare. And our genetics and our spirituality, our voice is going to take over. So, till next time, this is Michael Hamer, the Rainbow Warrior. 2020 is our year. So those who are not prepared, don't worry about it, but it's a lot that's already prepared. And once we unite, we got to take it to them. And the best way to attack them is through their government and their religious system. I ain't just talking about them over here, the United States, I'm talking about around the world. Because all religions are controlling their people. So I just wanted to bring you this Christmas message to understand there's more about family. And that's one thing about it. We do bring our families together during Christmas. All them gifts and stuff, that's secondary. I ain't saying not give your kids birthday parties and all that, but that's secondary. But give them the truth first, give them the laws, give them the information they need to sustain and guide themselves through life. All that stuff is secondary. There's nothing wrong with gifts and stuff, but it's secondary. There's nothing wrong with having material, but it's secondary. So since we bought into this system, we're going to change it for the better, for everybody. Not just the rich man, but the poor man and everybody. Because like I say, we all the same when it comes to human behavior and human nature. The only thing that separates us from everybody else is our melanin, our pineal gland. That's why they got to line up behind us, because we absorb all the energy, gamma rays, the cosmic energy, the microwave energy, all the energies, television energy from your cell phones. That's why you're supposed to turn the TVs and the cell phones off at night and keep them away from your bed, because you're still absorbing that energy. Because one thing about the subconscious mind, it never sleeps. The subconscious mind is what controls your breathing, your heartbeat, and that reptilian brain. That's where your heartbeat and everything is controlled. So when you dream, you're dreaming, it's in your subconscious mind. That's why it's a dangerous place, because you have good dreams and bad. If you're having bad dreams, that means you're putting out bad energy into the universe. So, happy Kwanzaa. Not Merry Christmas, but Happy Kwanzaa. Peace, black power, melanated power, the true power. Good night.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LanceScurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LanceScurv.